Are we on? Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, anybody that's on, we'll give you a few moments to get on with us. I'm excited to be on here with this specific topic of let's talk about a discussion. We have some phenomenal people in the room, but we'll give people about 20 seconds to get on or 10 seconds to get on here. But I know we have Mr. Curtis and Timba with us in discussion tonight. I don't know if anyone else will be on with us, but we will have a great discussion around what does it mean to make your money work for you, which I think will be a phenomenal topic of discussion. And as we're doing this, I guess it'd be perfectly fine to go ahead and just open up with introductions, letting people know who we are and where we come from. So I guess I'll start with Mr. Timba. You want to open up with as far as the introductions, just letting people know that are on this live with us tonight who you are, how you want to even contribute to the topic of conversation. And we'll start
Okay,
from there.
is that there? Okay. Thank you guys for having me. My name is Temba Magagula. I'm actually a financial advisor with an independent practice. I've been practicing financial planning for about 21 years. And about 4 years ago, I decided to go out on my own, which has probably been the biggest blessing for me since I started in this career. Um, I guess one of the big things that I always aspire to do is just try to make sure I'm able to offer change. And it's not from the standpoint of a monetary aspect, it's really just trying to show people what their options are and the opportunities are in order for them to grow. In life, I look at things every single day and I say, we need to, growth is key. And if you're not changing your life daily, what are we doing? So I think, when it comes to talking about money or the topic that we're talking about, this is very key because this is a starting point of, some of the things that we need to be talking about. So that's a little bit about myself.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, Timba. And I'm glad to have you on and that you are a financial advisor. This is going to be a good topic of discussion because the questions that I have tonight most definitely will hit on some things and please most definitely expound on those questions. Both
Okay.
of you gentlemen, and we'll expound on them together. Now we have my guy Curtis, Mr. Curtis,
Hey, what's
Elder
up, man?
Curtis,
What's
Pastor
happening?
Curtis, financial
Hey,
guru, yeah, all the
hey, look, we all family here, Hey, look, I'm happy to be here on this. Let's talk about it tonight, and to have my other brother, Timber, here tonight. You know what I'm saying? Because actually, he's the person who I use to invest my own money, and really is a blessing and a benefit because he educates us on what's the ins and outs of things. But I'm a part of this ministry. I thank God for being here tonight. I thank God for what we're about to hear. I thank God for my brother Bruce being on today. You know what I'm saying? Because when me and him together, we always be charged. But definitely,
that's
man.
how we do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
no,
yeah, we're definitely. I'm looking forward to this talk about it. And for real, this is really. I've actually seen the presentation that we're gonna have tonight before, and I'm just letting you're in for a treat, everybody. You're in for a treat.
look, Curtis and Tim, just so y'all know, I have my notes up, so I'm gonna be taking some notes as well. So I'm most
Okay.
definitely excited about this conversation tonight. And I guess I'll introduce myself. But those who are listening, please share, like, and invite this. We want people to be blessed by tonight's conversation because as being kingdomites, being in the people of the kingdom of God, we most definitely will also want to understand how money works, how it should work for us because a lot of times we work for our money and not the other way around. So go ahead while you're listening right now, share this video with 10 of your friends, share it in 5 different groups, and tag in 3 different people in the comments below because tonight is going to be for a treat. And I can feel it just virtually right now that Timber, Curtis, and I guess we'll bring a great dynamic to the group. So I'll open up, close with myself in intros. I'm Bruce, known as Elder Bruce, Evangelist Bruce. I'm located out in Asheville, North Carolina. Um, One of the things that we're doing here right now, one of the bigger things that happened, I own a coffee shop. I'm a co-owner of a coffee shop co-working space, event space. I have a marketing agency. I'm a happy husband with 2 kids, and I work in development, directing development in a lot of different fronts when it comes to community or community mobilization and galvanizing the community around a cause. So I do a lot of development with businesses and partnerships. So tonight, I'm really interested in to hear about what type of things will come out of tonight. So again, please invite 10 of your friends, share it in 5 different groups, and tag 3 people in the post. So let's go ahead and get it up to about 50 people into this conversation tonight. So Timber, Curtis, y'all ready to go?
Are we ready?
Oh yeah, awesome. So opening question. What does it mean, Timber, Curtis? And it's a popcorn question, so any one of you can start, but what does it mean, for real, what does it mean to make your money work for you? What does that mean to you?
So the way I would phrase it, Bruce, is I always tell people every dollar should have a job. So when you look at it from the standpoint of what you have in, let's say, your bank account, what is this job? What's it doing? If it's earning 0.01%, it really doesn't have a job. You got to understand how to make it grow, because the cost of things that you buy on a daily basis only go up year over year. And if your money is only making 0.01%, it's really not making anything for you. So you have to look at all the different areas where you can grow your money. If it means buying into stocks or buying into what we call bonds, which are debt securities, buying into municipals or treasuries. There's a whole plethora of things out there that people have options to get into, but a lot of times people do not know that they have these options. So, but I think that's one of the main key things. Make sure that every dollar has a job.
Every dollar should have a job, man. Most definitely, because what happens, Timbo, even Curtis, what happens if your dollar does not have a job? What happens?
It's just sitting there not making anything for you, and the banks are making money off of it. So anything that you put in the banks are lending it out for other things, like people buying mortgage or getting a home. They get a mortgage. That money's being used to kind of just funnel that away, and they're making money off of that. But you're not getting anything, but they're charging somebody 3 to 4% to get into that mortgage or the car loan.
Come on. Hey, Mr. Curtis, go ahead, jump in.
What I was gonna say is that like really, so the question in itself, like Timber answered it very well, that every dollar should have a job, meaning it should bring something to the table, bring something back to the table, and some of the things that Timber is experienced in is showing you how to make your dollar work more, instead of it just getting the 0 whatever % in your bank account, but how to make it work for you, right? And Timber, I think you got like a little presentation or a spreadsheet, some slideshows for us to kind of break that down a little bit.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I could break that down in just a second. Just give me a second, okay?
Yeah. Cool. While he's doing that, I guess while you're doing that, Timber, just hearing you both, man, talking about making your dollar work for you, that really hits the nail on the head around just how money operates and flows. I would think I was having a conversation with someone, and one of the things I got out of the conversation is that money is attracted to a location, not a person necessarily.
Right.
It's attracted to a system. So whether or not you are talented, phenomenal, passionate, suave, charismatic, that don't matter. It's attracted to a location. And if you understand locations and the systems of how it works, then those dollars can work for you. And man, it's crazy. Like, I'm learning this. I wish I'd learned this when I was in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish this was a part of my education and aspect. I mean, there may have been options, but nobody told me. So, to learn it later in life, I just couldn't imagine where I could have been if just I had a Timber or, a support like Curtis or even other financial advisors or people to support and help. So I most definitely know that what it means to make your money work for you is certainly understanding it is attracted to a system and a location.
So normally what I normally do when I talk to people, Bruce and Curtis, these are the rules that I live by when it comes to money. Pay yourself first. Learn how to invest. Give every dollar a job, which I think is one of the keys for me. And don't be a slave to money. What I find is that, a lot of times when I sit down with people or when I talk to people, that we go to work and we get caught up in, the work life. Oh, I got to go to work. I got to make this, money every single day. But what a job means to me is just over broke. That's the definition that I use. Okay. Because you're only getting a salary and they're only telling you what you're worth. You got to always make this stuff work for you and try to keep your credit card debt down as much as possible. So these are some of the things that I try to instill in people, because put money away, pay yourself first. Make sure that you're not spending $15 a day on lunch when that money could be going into something that's earning you 3 to 4%. So that's the kind of stuff that we look at. But these are some of the rules of money that I kind of live by.
Look, I'm gonna ask the crowd something because I'm navigating between two systems. So I can see here on Zoom and on Facebook. That's just the type of person I am. I'm always fully engaged. But I'm gonna ask Curtis first. Out of these rules, and even you, Timba, because I see that you put these together. Curtis, what are like the top 3 or top 5 or things that really stand out to you right now as you're looking at these rules? What are the ones that stand out to you the most?
Well, number one is very important. Number one, number two, and number 10, right? And so basically, when you pay yourself first, but you know how the game works, you know how to invest. So therefore, later on, you can have something for an emergency fund. You can have something to make your money work for you. You learn how to make money passively. You can learn. So with those three that I pointed out will cause you actually to be able to capitalize on every other point.
Great.
So number 1, number 2, and 10. So let me read those out loud. And those who are watching, put in the comments too the top 3 that stand out to you. So you say pay yourself first, learn how to invest, and 10. It's a game. Learn how it works. That's good. What about you, Timba? What's the one? I know you created this. These are 17 commandments, and they all look legit. What are the ones that stand out to you the most? The ones that whether it's your pet peeve or you really truly just you stick to.
So mine changed because I've been doing this for so long. So I kind of gotten used to a lot of these. But if I was to start out, I would also say pay yourself first. That would be number 1. Okay. Learn how to make money passively. Okay. To where you make money while you sleep. Okay. And don't use credit if you don't have it, if you don't have to. And the reason why I picked that one is because a lot of times, think about when we're in college or when we go to school. I graduated in 1999, but you'd go on the campus and you'd have all these credit card companies just sitting there trying to offer you a credit card at the age of 19. So by the time you're 21, you had almost $20,000 in credit card debt because you didn't know how to use it.
Come on, Timber. I was one of them.
But nobody taught people. They don't teach us that. So try to pay down your credit cards if you have them, because that interest is eating at what you're able to pay yourself.
Wow. I'm getting some of the reviews in the comments. My buddy Rosenberg, shout out to Rosenberg. I just met with him earlier. I didn't know why I didn't think of him, but he would have been an awesome individual to be on here with us as well. But one of the things Rosenberg said, he says, I know that he was saying about making your we'll learn how to make passive income. He also mentioned about spending less than you make has helped us tremendously. Jamila mentioned that 17 stood out to her. Is not what you make, is what you keep.
That's
14,
correct.
she said, use it to solve problems in the world. For me, yeah. I would say the same for me is learning how to make your money work passively. That's most definitely something I'm big on right now. I'm really getting more and more into stocks, and I want to learn more about it as I go. So I'm glad to have someone like you on here.
So,
Uh, and we got 4 as well.
so,
Awesome.
I,
People
so what
going.
I'm gonna do is address number 14. Use it to solve problems in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So there are ways. The person that raised that point, okay, Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many ways you can do that. So people think that you have to do it right now.
Mm.
What happens is if you see how a lot of wealthy people they create their wealth and then they give it away, because what they do is they set up different types of trusts to kind of gift that money when, like a charitable remainder trust. So if something happens, that money will go to that trust. So a lot of times with tithing, a lot of times people don't know that you can write off your tithes off with when you pay your taxes on your taxes. These are things that people need to understand, and we don't teach them that. So, but all of these points, really, really, I guess, hit home for me in a lot of different ways.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I see. I know you have a thorough presentation, and people comments are still coming in from different aspects. But I'm going to move on to the next question. So this is great. Thank you so much again, Timba and even Curtis. I'm glad to be a part of this conversation. The next question is to everyone listening in. What would you say was one of the most challenging parts of making your money work for you? When it comes to this topic of discussion, what was the most challenging parts of making your money work for you? What would you say that was?
I would say discipline. There are two things, okay, and they're kind of related: discipline and patience. Okay, the patient component comes into making, letting your money sit as long as it possibly can without touching it. When something comes up, everybody wants to just touch and pull that money. The discipline comes into how you keep on feeding the thing that you're trying to save for, or you're trying to put the money away for. What I find is that, like I always tell people, if you're starting off with $100 to invest, every month put $50 away. And I use the example of, think about when you buy a house and there's a brand new house and there's no grass on the in the backyard. You got to till the grass. You got to plant the seed. Till the soil, plant the seed, water it, and let it grow. And then it gets to a certain stage, and you cut it, you fertilize it, and do all that kind of stuff. And you continue to keep that process going until you get it to the strand of grass strength that you want it to be on. Mm-hmm. Same thing with investing. You got to do the same thing. Or even with your money, you got to do the same thing. Have discipline and patience.
Yeah. Somebody just shouted you out, Timber. Carlton says he appreciates you. This guy knows his stuff, and he just wants to see the entire Black community doing well. And I appreciate you as well,
All right, thank you. And thank you, Carlton.
Yeah. Curtis, it's on you. Yep.
Hey, I'm just listening. I'm telling you, he's about to break some stuff down. Once he get to his slides and stuff, like, man, he really, it's gonna open up a lot of stuff that's probably spurs more questions, because he's gonna go to a lot of things and also show you some stuff that other people who are financial advisors do not show you. So okay. Definitely, man.
Let's move to the next slide then. Timbo, it's on you, sir.
All right, so I'll skip this one actually because, well, actually no, this is kind of important too. In life right now, with us online, we're all in this accumulation phase of our lives. We're trying to make as much money as possible to take care of our families and do the things that we want to do and love. but there's going to be a time where we get to the point where we're going to have to utilize some of that money because we're going to retire. But things come up. Our biggest expenses when we retire are healthcare costs, okay? These things, or disability, long-term care insurance. Those things we have to plan for now because the government is not going to take care of us when we get to that point. And you want to be able to live the way you want to live, okay? But I think one of the things that I find a lot of people don't understand is how the stock market works. And I think that's key for us to understand in this conversation. Any questions, Bruce or Curtis, so far?
Yeah, it was one question. Miles, he asked from Facebook, what's the best way to budget?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So what I do is every 2 weeks. So I actually created a spreadsheet, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I can actually share some of this with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll share this with you. All right. Okay. All right. So basically what I do is I basically say, okay, this slide right here, take home all the stuff that I have, income coming in. All right. I draft that all out. Then I have all the balances here. But then what really comes down to key is expenses.
Wow.
What are my expenses every single month? Okay. Or every single 2 weeks. And I do this constantly, every single month. Mm-hmm. I can send something out to you guys in regards to that. A sample spreadsheet if you guys want to share with the community. Because I do have something that I've done, and it's similar to what I've done, and it calculates everything that you can see at the bottom, what the dollar amount is that you've saved, and everything else.
No, this is amazing.
I'll send that out to you. Curtis, I'll shoot that over to you. Okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Man, keep going. Yeah, I figured you probably touch on a lot of the questions that may come through already. So you're talking about stocks. This is something I'm most certainly interested in, and I think would be phenomenal for share. And a lot of people that are on tonight, I'm sure they will want to as well. Especially like this whole rave around Bitcoin and stocks. Look,
and GameStop and everything else. Yeah. I'm not going to go into too much of. So there's certain things that like the GameStop phenomena, that gets, that's something where I have to sit down and really go through a lot of different nuances with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I'll kind of alleviate some of that. I'm going to make this as easy as possible for people to understand. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the stock market is not something that you need to fear. Okay. What I find is that where people don't have understanding, they don't do. Okay. And what I mean by that, they will not make a decision because they don't have an understanding of how things work. When we're looking at the stock market, all the stock market is, it's a way for a company to raise money to keep their operations going. Okay. So they basically they get to a certain level and they say, okay, we want to continue to keep on growing our business. So we need to raise capital. So what they do is they offer capital, they offer shares of stock to the public through what they call an initial public offering. Okay. Once that money is raised, then they're able to use that to do whatever, but you have an ownership stake in the business. Okay. So think about Procter & Gamble. If people use Crest toothpaste, okay, Procter & Gamble makes Crest toothpaste. All right. So we need that on a regular basis. Okay. A company like Amazon, they take their money and they reinvest it and buy other businesses. So I'll go into a little bit of detail there. Any questions regarding that so far?
No, yeah, we literally just taking it in right now. I'm looking, we most definitely are navigating when they come in the comments. But most definitely those who are on live, please most definitely ask questions. Normally when I do lives, I'm very, very engaging with those who are watching. That's just me naturally, but as they
Right.
come in, I'm sure that Kiana and Minister Kiana and others will be putting them in the parking lot into as you're talking, and we'll just plug them in as you go.
Okay. So once you get into the market, once you start investing, you don't have to start with $1 million. Start small. You can start an investment with $50 a month. Okay. And you can diversify your portfolio of $50 a month. Nowadays, you got these Charles Schwab accounts where you can put in $5 or Robinhood, and they diversify it into the S&P 500 and so forth. Okay.
Can you, Timber, can you go back one slide just
Sure.
to look at this? So this right here is just how stocks work. You got the 4 steps.
Right.
Companies issue stock to raise capital, which I did not know. Company receives money from initial public offering, and companies use funds raised to generate more revenue.
Right.
And then shareholders sell shares to make a profit. This. I love this. Thank you for creating this.
Oh, you're welcome.
This is pretty awesome. So yeah, somebody asked for us to go back so they can see it really quick.
Sure.
Yeah, this is great. So I hope that you got this. You can actually probably the quickest way to do this is screenshot your phone, as people want to get this information. So yeah, screenshot your phone. That would be quicker.
Now, the one thing, and there's going to be a portion where I talk about what the Dow Jones is and the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, because I think that's where people really have to understand what's underneath the hood of those vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when people see the Dow Jones go down 600, 700 points, what do? They panic because they do not understand what's underneath the hood of each one of these vehicles. I use an example of a car. When a car breaks down, what do most people do? They go open up the hood of the vehicle to see what's going on underneath the hood. But if you're not a mechanic, you're not going to understand how the vehicle, what's going on with it, because there's a big cover in a lot of these cars now that you don't see what's underneath the hood, or you don't see the cylinders and all that kind of stuff that's underneath there. So I tell people, sit on the side of the road and call AAA, okay? So, in order to begin start investing, you don't, like I said, you don't have to have $1 million. If you go to a company like Merrill Lynch, they might say you have to have a minimum of 250,000, but that's ridiculous because you never know when somebody's situation is going to change. Okay. Diversify your portfolio. Buy into different sectors. Okay. And what I mean by that, there are different areas of the market. So, for example, you have technology, you have consumer discretionary. What that means is companies that people will use, but they're not a necessity. Okay. You can go without buying Oreo cookies. Okay. You have consumer staples, things that people definitely need. You have utilities. Just to give you an example, those are the areas that people are going to have in their portfolios. Mm-hmm. So you diversify based on that model. Okay. So those are some of the things that you always want to look for. Okay. See why I say invest regularly and invest in blue chip stocks. What blue chip stocks are, okay? Let me get in here really quickly. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, you're fine. Man, I'm getting a download tonight. Curtis, how you feeling? Oh yeah, this
every time I see this, it just amazes me, right? Because he's putting all these pieces that you might know about, but he's putting it right in the right place in the puzzle, so you can really see the picture, you know?
Yeah. This is, I mean, and those who are on live with us, how y'all feeling about this so far? Just a little bit that I got. Thank God that this is being, recorded so that we can go back and review later, because it's like one of those things you got to go back and like, let me catch that part again. Mm-hmm. So most certainly. I'm even interested in some services myself, to be honest.
And I'll say this, man, you know, basically like yeah, he works with you with whatever you're trying to invest in. But like I say, as he's educating us tonight, he educates you prior to you even invest in anything, so you can have an understanding of what your money is doing. So go ahead, Tim.
This is a little small, so I'm going to read off some of this, and I'm going to use the arrow key. I don't know if you guys can see the CNBC where the arrow is that I'm hovering over. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the Dow Jones only comprises of 30 stocks. Okay. They put this in alphabetical order on here. I call this American Express or American Distress, Amgen, Apple, Boeing, Caterpillar. They're the 30 biggest companies in the United States. That's all the Dow Jones included. Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson. Okay. JP Morgan Chase, McDonald's. Now, most people will say, I don't call McDonald's a fast food company. I call McDonald's a real estate company.
Yes.
Okay. Microsoft. Everybody uses Microsoft, and Nike. Everybody buys a lot of Nikes and so forth. Okay. So these are all the companies on there. All right. The S&P 500 is 500 of the biggest companies in the United States. Okay.
Man.
So I'll scroll down just a little bit over here. Okay. These are the top 10, but there are 506 companies in the S&P 500. Okay. So this gives you a little bit more diversification, because now you're not only dealing with 30 companies, you're dealing with 506 companies. Okay. So not all of these companies are going to go bankrupt or under. So, you know, you got to just sit through this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And these are some of the companies. Sorry. United Health Group. We pay them insurance on a regular basis. Walt Disney. Everybody's streaming right now, especially if we've got little ones in the house. Okay. Mm-hmm. MasterCard, Home Depot, PayPal. Okay. So, Bruce, you mentioned something about Bitcoin. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So with Bitcoin is, the way I look at Bitcoin is countries trying to devalue the dollar.
Right.
But it's too volatile. So you don't see a lot of banks offering Bitcoin in their system. Square and PayPal offer it when you go on the Cash App and Venmo. So you can buy Bitcoin on there. Okay. Yeah. Or you can buy it on Coinbase. But the thing is very volatile. And so, you know, I always say quick money can be money that's lost very easily too.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, a lot of times people are just pushing this up because they keep on buying it, but they don't understand that there's only 23 million Bitcoins that could be mined. And we're already at almost 19 million. So that's what's pushing the stock price, the stock of Bitcoin up. You know, when it comes down, it's going to come down. But I know with Elon Musk pushing it and everything else, that's where the hype comes from.
Oh, say that one more time though, Tim, because so you can only mine how much, and we're already at 19. So go ahead, say that again. Break that down one more time.
So there are 23 million Bitcoins outstanding. Okay, 19 million, about 19 million have already been mined.
Lord.
Okay. It's going to keep on rising because now there's less Bitcoin out there for demand. I mean, supply and demand falls into play in there. Okay. Yeah. So they're going to push that up. And then one day it's just going to say, somebody's just going to say, you know, we're going to sell all our Bitcoin and make this crash, you know, and that's what's pushing this thing up. But the reason why I don't get into Bitcoin is because if somebody hacks into my computer, they could take all my Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to take that risk. I like to see growth in things that I do.
So you're saying once Bitcoin hits $23 million,
Mm-hmm.
what, I don't, is
20,
it million or billion?
might be billion.
Yeah, it could be a billion. Yeah, because we've been
I'll
in,
tell you right now.
or yeah, I don't even know. But once whatever number it is, because I do know it's a number.
So they're 18.5 million. What happens after all 21 million are mined?
Wow. What happens after that?
You see, that's the question, because they can't mine anymore.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. So they're putting this hype all around it just so you can get in and take your dollars.
That's correct.
Oh man. Okay. Man.
That's correct. And
Th-
so,
Man,
you know,
there's just so much out there around like financial freedom and wealth.
right.
And I guess this can pour into my next question if that's okay. But
Sure.
that yeah, there's so much out there around financial freedom and wealth. But realistically, you've been talking on some of that tonight. But where should someone start? Like I got one of the guys on here, Tyler, one of the guys I mentor, and some other young people probably watch this later, or even young adults in general, or even someone who just wants to get into it. But
Okay.
realistically, where should that person start? If I'm interested in taking this course of action, what
Right.
are my first few steps? Like what am
Okay.
what am I supposed
I'm going to break it down based on dollars just to kind of keep it simple. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So if a person comes to me and says, look, you know what? I can put away $100 a month. Okay.
Mhm.
I'll say we need to start with mutual funds. So what a mutual fund is basically think about it like a big old swimming pool with a whole bunch of stocks inside of it. Okay. It's managed by a company, and they kind of direct the way the money that you put in based on everybody. It's a big pot of money put together. Okay. Once you say, I want to sell, you can sell out. Okay. Once you get to a level of 25,000 or more, that's when you start looking at individual stocks, because the individual stocks give you more control. You have more shares. Unlike in a mutual fund where you're just in a big old public pool with everybody else, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where you start. Now, if you're working and your company has a 401k plan, okay, please contribute to that 401k plan, because that money comes out pre-tax. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving away money to the government if you don't contribute to your 401k plan.
Okay.
Okay. And what I mean by that is, let's look at it from this perspective. I'll come back to this slide.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
You got a dictionary. I
Oh
love
yeah. Oh yeah. So in 2021, you can actually, these numbers haven't changed. You can contribute up to 19,500 to the 401k pre-tax. But I really want to go here. This might be a little small, but okay, I'm married, and let's say my income is in the 24% tax bracket. Okay. So that means if I'm making $329,850, I'm paying 24% to the IRS. I'm not trying to give them that money. So what we do is, my wife and I, we take that and we say, okay, let's contribute 19,500 each to the 401k plan, which reduces our income by $38,000, $39,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now I'm in the $280,000 or $90,000 range. Okay. Once I retire, I know I'm not going to have that much income.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not going to be making this. So my tax bracket's going to drop quite a bit. I might get 40, 50,000 from Social Security. My house should be paid off. And I can just kind of take a little bit out every single month out of my 401k plan or IRA at that point in time, and use that money for the rest of my life. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of times when people work with me, a lot of my clients actually really never even touch their IRAs, because we structure everything in place. We have tiers and how your money's supposed to work for you.
Mm.
So that's the key. Okay.
So say for instance, like for instance, right now, like someone was coming to you as an initial investor and they wanted to create those tiers, like you're saying, so I can have a I'm coming to you with a long-term goal, but at the end of that long-term goal, I can have something that's sustainable for the rest of my life.
Right. Okay. So basically you start small. You look at what your budget is. So the gentleman that asked, how do you start a budget?
Yeah.
You start small. Look at what your income is coming in, how much money you have coming in every month, and track it for 30 days and see what you're putting out in those 30 days too. Okay? If you're making $3,000 a month and you're putting out $4,000 a month, there's something wrong. Okay? So there needs to be something that needs to be tweaked. Okay? So once you find that, then you start saying, okay, well, now look, you know what? I'll ask the question, are you contributing to your 401k plan if you have one at work? If you don't, I'm going to find another vehicle that you can contribute to depending on what you're doing. Okay? And then we build from there.
So 401k, mutual funds, IRAs, these are the things that we work in. And these are more so for the long term.
These are long term. Yeah. Yeah, these are long term.
Got it.
And and especially if a company paying you 3% they're matching you by 3 or 4%, definitely want to add to that. And I always say, one thing that people ask, how much should I save every paycheck? And I just use the terms in the Bible. Save 10%. Save 10% to start. And if you can save more, let's start saving more.
Save 10% to start. Put that in the comments, those who are listening. If you caught that, please save 10%. Because I know it can sometimes be difficult for people to save even 10% because they're living right up to the edge of their paycheck. As far as that's everything
correct.
you got.
That's correct. I get it. And so, but one of the things that and you guys would probably know the Bible more than me, but and all the different verses and stuff like that. But one thing that I know about the Bible has more scriptures in there about finance than any other area. There are over 2,000 scriptures in there about finance.
Yeah. Let's talk. That's real. This is good.
So those kinds of things are things that we got to look at. Okay. So, all right.
Back on you. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
I think Miles had another question. He said, "Okay, so what if you got your own business?" I guess
Great question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Great question. Okay. In regards to saving for retirement in your own business?
I'm assuming so. That's what he's because he's putting saving 10%.
Okay. So basically, as a business owner, you got a lot more different avenues that you can go through. You can set up your own 401k plan if you're the only employee in your 401k in your company. So you can set up what they call a solo 401k or a uni 401k. Or what you can do, and this is where we talk to your tax professional, you can set up what they call a SEP IRA, okay, where you can contribute up to $58,000 or 25% of your compensation. Okay. Or you can do a simple elective deferral. So you have other options. Okay. If you have employees, you can set up 4 and you don't have a 401k plan for your business, set up a 401k plan for your business and have those participants, your employees, contribute, and you can get tax credits from that too, as well.
This is great.
So there's so many different options.
This is great. Okay.
You know, so yeah, it's, you know, it really just comes down to understanding what is out there, and we just go from there. Okay.
So realistically, you know, you're talking about where to start. You're saying the long-term route of having those things set up first, which will be your 401k, because yeah, because I know that a lot of people, whether they do it or don't do it, is an aspect, but then also start saving 10% of all your income.
That's correct.
Keeping track of it for 30 days. That's what I'm getting so far. What
Yep.
if there's an individual out there that's, you know, well, more particularly like someone like me, you know, I have done those things. I've, you know, contributed to my 401k, or I am, and I'm also interested in making my money work for me to get money while I'm waiting for my retirement. So like,
Okay.
that's me. I'm that type of person. I want
Okay.
dividends. I want, you know what
I
I
get
mean?
it.
That's where I'm more of my route is. Like
I get it.
I did aggressive stuff, even with my 401k, like the Roth IRA part, where I was aggressive with a financial company in my
Right.
younger years. So when I get older, I could change it if I want to. But what if I'm that individual that do the 401k, I save 10% of my money, but now I want some of the money that I have, or the additional funds that I have coming in working for me? What do you say to
Okay.
a person like that?
So then basically you start putting some of that money, because the maximum you can contribute to the Roth or the 401k plan is 19,500. If you
Yeah,
go
yeah.
above that, the IRS is coming after you and saying you need to pull some of that money out. But to answer your question, Bruce, I just wanted to say that because I don't want people to miss that. Okay.
Okay.
Never go over 19,500 in your Roth and your 401k plan. Okay. Roth 401k. Okay. If you're doing a Roth IRA or just a regular IRA, the limit is $6,000 if you're under 50, and 6,500 if you're over 50. I will go back and check that at the end, but
Okay.
you don't want to go over those. You definitely want to talk to your tax accountant if you're doing that. All right, but yeah, to answer your question, once you contribute that 10%, okay, and you say, okay, you know what, I have extra money that I want to put away and I want to just start making that money work for you, then you set up like a regular investment account. And I call it a taxable investment account, just like your checking and savings account. You set up an investment account so you can put money in that and start investing that money.
Okay.
Okay. And the reason why I say that is because if you do this right, once you start putting money into your regular investment account, like your taxable account that you're paying taxes on every year,
Yeah.
and that grows, let's say you start off, I'm just using a number 10,000, okay? And you put $100 away every month. And let's say by the time you retire, that is at 250,000, okay? And let's say your 401k plan, you've been contributing to that every month or every 2 weeks for the last 30 years. And let's say that's at close to $1 million too. Which account are you going to start dwindling down first?
The
large one.
yeah.
No, the
Smaller one.
smaller one. The one that's taxable. It's going to supplement the Social Security income that you get, plus then you're dwindling that down, okay? So now when you run out of that pot of money, where do you go? Your retirement assets. The likelihood of you dwindling down that $250,000 is going to take you a few years. It might take 5 or 6 years to dwindle that down in retirement and supplementing if you're supplementing your Social Security. Okay. So that's how you got to look at it.
And when you
I
say
hope I answered that question or asked.
And when you say taxable account or investment account, are you saying just like a regular checking or savings account that is attached to that investment pool?
So you have 4 buckets. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's say 5. Okay, I'll go through them. You have your checking account, which is your bill paying account. You have your savings account, which is your emergency fund account. So I always say leave at least 6 months to 12 months worth of savings in there, okay? The reason being is because what if your water heater goes out?
Right.
How much is that going to cost? $1,000 to get that fixed. Your air conditioning goes out, that's going to cost you $6,500 approximately. Car breaks down, you need a new car, you put a down payment down, you pay that money on, so forth, go for, you know. So that's your emergency fund, just for some kind of major emergency. Then you start another account, which is what I call the investment account, which is taxable. Okay, you put money in that, and you start buying stocks and bonds in there.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll explain what a bond is in just a second. It's under fixed income, so I'll explain that in just a second. And then you have your retirement accounts below that, and that can be your Roth IRA, your 401ks, and so forth.
Okay, man, this is great. You know, Timber, man, you are most definitely amazing. I can see why Curtis, I guess
appreciate it.
that Curtis brought you on here. It seems like y'all pretty tight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's and you work with some of the people that's connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, Curtis, anything you want to add to this conversation, bro?
So yeah, I kind of wanted him to kind of get to like how he, well, like because he said earlier that you don't have to have a lot, but I wanted him to kind of get to how he shows you how he structures everything for a person as they going forward, so we can have an idea basically of how we want to lay out, if you really want to invest, or how you really want to lay out your portfolio. Like one thing that he does, like he said, he contributes to mutual funds, so you can always see something growing. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to kind of give us an outlay, just like a quick A to Z real quick, so we can have an idea like, yeah, man, I need to get with this. I need to do that, man, so I can have something beneficial for me, whether I'm young, middle age, or older, you know?
Yeah.
I get you. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get through this, and because I think a lot of times right now, 2020 brought about the lay of the land where everybody's trying to get into stocks, Curtis and Bruce. So I think I want people not to make mistakes when they're picking stocks, okay? Because that's where people lose money, okay? Don't buy stocks on margin, because that's cash that is owned by the bank, all right? Unless you understand what you're doing. But, okay, the different tiers of stocks, okay? There's some stocks that pay you a dividend. What is a dividend? A dividend is when a company says, thank you for investing in our company, we're going to pay some of our profits back to you. And there's some companies that do not pay a dividend. So I want to go through that very quickly, okay? Most technology companies do not pay a dividend, okay? Most growth companies do, okay? So, for example, let's look at Amazon. I pulled this up a while ago. Amazon, if you buy one share, is $2,977. So what happens is most people look at this number. I will look at it, but I'm looking at this number down here, the forward dividend, the dividend yield. I know that Amazon does not pay me a dividend because they take their profits and they reinvest it back into different businesses.
Wow.
Okay. So they bought Whole Foods a couple of years ago. They're buying a lot of other things from that standpoint. Last year, when you filled up at the tank, how much were you paying for gas?
Last year, when the pandemic first did this hit, I was like almost $1.99. I was on regular.
And how much is it now? It's like almost $3 for premium.
And like 50-something cent a gallon for the regular.
Correct.
Yep.
So what you're looking at is this component here, 4.98%.
Wow.
The dividend yield. So if I have $10,000 in Chevron, okay, and it's $104 a share, I'm not really looking at this number. I'm looking here, because I know that if I have $10,000, I'm going to make 4.98%. So that's $498 a year on that $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to reinvest that and buy more shares. So 20 years down the line, let's say I've got 30,000 in Chevron. at 4.98%. And I have that money just given to me to supplement my income in retirement because I know that they're going to be around.
Mm.
Okay. AT&T pays 7%. Verizon pays 4%. Dominion Energy, for people that live in Virginia, pays about 4% as well. So these are things that you're using, okay? But, and I'll skip over to bonds really quickly. Bond is like basically saying, look, you know what? Can I lend some money from you, Bruce or Curtis? And I'll pay you back that money after a couple of years. And I'm going to give you interest on that. That's all that is. So think about a certificate of deposit as a bond. But Curtis wants me to get to this slide. Is this the one you're talking about, Curtis?
Yeah.
Okay. So we just came out of recession. We're going into recovery because now everybody's trying to open up everything. Then you have booms and slowdowns. So this is our economic cycle. In a recession, you want to buy growth companies, companies like Amazon, companies like Apple, all those companies, okay? Companies like Johnson & Johnson refinance their debt. And what that means is if they have paying 3% on the money that they borrowed from the bank, they refinance it to get a lower interest rate. So these are areas that you want to buy into too. When coming out of recovery, you want to have small businesses. Because right now we know that there are 10 million people that do not have a job in the United States. Okay? So you want to definitely get into some of those, okay? Municipals, think about hospitals, schools, and roads. If you're going up to New York, we pay all these tolls that add up to about $40 from Maryland all the way up. That money is used to fix the roads, but you can go out and buy a municipal bond in your state and get that tax deferred. You don't pay taxes on it. So these are some of the things that you got to look at. Commodities, think about what happens when we have a hurricane in Florida. What happens to orange juice prices? They go up in value. And then you have overseas equities. Toyota. How many people drive a Toyota in the country? A whole bunch. So these are the things. So what you're doing is you're just taking that big old pot, putting this into a pot like you're making jambalaya, and you're putting all your ingredients in there. And this slide is not really clear, but I'm going to use it and just follow the arrow. Your portfolio should run like this because you've taken all those different things. So when one area is going down, there's always something working for you if you spread it out. So your line will flow like this black line that I'm covering over right now. So you're not taking major losses across the board. Okay. Any questions?
I think that there was a question earlier from Miles. He asked about. I think we touched on it though about how to make your money and work for you around investments. I think you touched on a lot of those already. Man, this is awesome. So this right here is what again? I was looking.
So this is basic. So you think about it like a periodic table. Okay. So let's go back here. Remember I said large cap value in all these different areas?
Yeah.
Okay. This is all of this in embedded into one big old pot, Bruce. Yeah. One large companies. Okay. So let's say I buy into AT&T in 1997 it's at 35%. You're up 35%. The next year it goes down by 15%. What do most people do? They sell, correct?
Yeah.
Because the world we live in is people are not used to dealing with loss. When everything's hunky-dory and good, we're smiling and everything is going great. But once there's a loss, we run for the fences and we stay out of that realm for a long period of time. So what I'm getting at is you take all these different pots, the large cap value, the large cap growth, which would be the Amazon of the world, small and medium-sized companies, your real estate, your bonds, your cash, your international, and your global bonds and your commodities, and you put it into one big pot. And your portfolio should run like this, because when one area is not doing well, there's always something else working for you. So in reality, you're really trying to make sure that, you know, there's always something coming in at all times.
Man. Okay. Man, this is amazing.
You had one other question too, right? And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it what's the hardest thing to make your money work for you?
Yeah, he was touching on
Patience.
Timber said patience and even discipline.
Discipline.
Yeah. So a lot of people, like you were saying, get scared when something goes down like that. So the mutual fund will be the best course of action to kind of to curb that fear, to keep you in the market.
Yeah, you diversify, but you know, the thing is, that's where I come in, and, you know, because a mutual fund is run by a human being too. Okay. So what I do is I tell people, you know, I manage the managers. Okay. If they have 2 years of bad performance, I'm out. I'm buying something else that fits into that space. Okay. I give a person a year, you know, because I know the market has its kind of nuances. But if they're 2 years of bad performance, you know, it's like getting a C in a grade, and, you know, you think you're going, or a D in a grade, and you think you're going on to the next class. That's not happening. So I look at it from that perspective.
Now, mutual funds, are they the same as, or in the aspect as ETFs, or are they a
great question?
Things?
Great, totally different. Great question, Bruce. They're totally different. So a mutual fund is actively managed. It's managed by a person.
Okay.
The Dow Jones and the S&P 500 are ETFs. They're they're passively managed. Nobody's really managing them. People just flood money in, pull money out, flood money in, pull money out. If they have bad performance for a number of years, then the stock is pulled out. But yeah, it's totally different. The expense ratios are a lot cheaper on a mutual fund. You have to hold for at least a year, or depending on the classic mutual fund. An ETF you can sell. It's like a stock. You can sell it at any point in time.
Okay. That makes total sense. I was wondering about that. But so you always lean more to the mutual side, the mutual fund side of things.
If a person's really just starting out, it all depends on the person's situation. Nobody's situation is exactly the same.
Okay.
So whatever a person's situation is, we have to kind of tailor it towards that instance.
Absolutely. Man, this is amazing. Yeah. So making your money work for you. We talked about, man, we talked on a lot of different things around, you know, the discipline is most definitely the number one starter. Are you willing to take this journey? Because some things are not going to be instant gratification, but it does revolve around the long-term goal and what are you actually trying to accomplish. And then we touched on the mutual fund, which is something I'm most definitely interested in. The individual stock, the 401k, saving the 10%. I mean, you know, and every dollar, I think the first thing you said that was really powerful to me, Timbo, was having every dollar, having a job, make money, make money, learn how to invest and pay yourself. And even paying yourself, going back to those 17 commandments. Yeah, like those commandments, man. Like when I think about that, that is so digestible for people who are, you know, starting out. I mean, there's so much here, like give every dollar a job, spend less than you earn. These are things that people hear, but they don't take heed to a lot of the times. And I'm just thankful that you just taking it back to fundamentals, because people trying to make it all fancy and science, you know, juice it up when it's really just the fundamentals, you know,
Correct.
how this thing works. Because when I have heard any other financial advice, from really sound people, they always go back to things like this. It's not necessarily new. It's
hmm
always been the same maneuvers and operation. But once you learn the system, you can make it work for you.
That's
Yeah,
So
correct.
this is beautiful.
that's real.
That's
That's
correct.
real.
Um,
How
I,
can I'm sorry, Bruce, quick.
no, go ahead. No, you good.
I was going to ask Tim to let us know, like, if somebody was interested in reaching out to him and connecting with him and using him for financial advising and to invest, how would they reach you?
So my email is Temba, so THEMBA .MAGAGULA @gmail.com. I mean at LPL.com. I'm sorry. So Temba THEMBA my last name MAGAGULA @LPL.com. My telephone number is 202-744-8853.
Mm.
Cool.
And
Timbo,
so, yes, sir.
as we're in our closing out moments, can you share the actual services you offer? Because I know I can see that you had a lot here, but what are the
Right.
things that you actually offer to a client? Because it seems like for me, it's like it could be a one-stop shop for real.
Well, it
That's
is.
what it seems like it is.
So basically, I focus on 13 wealth management area. Well, they're 12, 13, but these are the ones. Right now, we're talking about investment management. That's really one of the keys. Okay, but I give you example. Insurance, for example. Do you need term insurance or do you need whole life insurance? Some people think that they need whole life insurance for everything. No, you don't. Okay, because you know, I would say have term insurance because I know when my daughter gets to be a certain age, I'm hoping all my investments and everything else are going to cover everything. You see what I'm saying? So I look at insurance as something where I have it just in case something happens to me while she's growing. Okay, and it can take care of the family.
Mhm.
Portfolio construction. Um, this is something where we're looking at how we structure the tiers in your portfolios. Social Security, actually, I'll skip that one because that's later on down the line. Retirement planning. I touched on this quite a bit when I talked about the 401k plans.
Mhm.
Education planning. Uh, if you have kids, how do you start saving for their college? How do you start putting money away that you want to gift to them? Because you can gift them up to $15,000 a year and write that off on your taxes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Come on.
So tax planning. So a lot of times people go to the tax person once a year. But with me, people talk to me all year round. When you're about to buy a house, they're trying to figure out if the numbers make sense. I'm like, right now, I wouldn't be buying a house right now personally because I think they're at a premium. I'd wait until the end of the year when we come out of this to see what the numbers look like. So,
They go up, yeah,
huh?
because they
You see
go
what I'm
up.
saying? Yeah. Well, they might go down. And the reason why I say that is because think about it from the standpoint of what they did last year. They put that moratorium on renters not having to pay rent, and landlords had not,
Yeah.
whatever they did with all that mess. And so if people are still in that realm, the mortgage companies are going to say, okay, well, look, we need this money right now. And so there's going to be a lot more foreclosures. But it sounds like what they're going to do is basically put the loan on the back end.
Mm.
That's what I foresee them doing, because that's the only way I can look at it from that standpoint.
Okay.
Miles talked about he has a business, so business succession planning. How do we make sure that your business is running smoothly? Okay.
Yeah.
Estate planning. Do you have a will in place? Do you have your healthcare medical directives in place? Do you have power of attorneys? A power of attorney in place? One thing I'm going to say to everybody on this call, on all your bank accounts, put beneficiaries on them.
Okay.
Okay. You can go into the bank and tell them that you want to put, they might call it a payable on death or transfer on death or whatever, but put beneficiaries on all those accounts because it avoids probate. It avoids going to the courts.
Because they're trying to keep your dollars.
Good information.
And who gets paid when it goes to the courts? The lawyers.
Yeah. So by the time
Okay?
you done, you ain't get.
You're not getting as much as, and so forth. Okay. And then I forgot who mentioned charitable giving. Those things we definitely talk about as well. I can talk to, so it's more holistic financial planning what I do here.
Yeah, it seems like a very holistic viewpoint on just everything that you're doing. And
Right.
it's definitely something I think at this point in my life, I'm most definitely interested in because I have several businesses now. I do work as a full-time job as a director, and then there are other aspects of just growth. So I was like, this came right on time, honestly, for me personally. I know I was moderating, most definitely aspect, but I'm most definitely interested in having my dollars work for me. In long term as well, because my wife is in the most definitely the same spot or similar space as me. She works full time for herself. But yes, I would love to have a discussion even later because I'm at that tax place now because I have investments and then you got business. And I was like, how do you do all that? And I got a full-time job. So I'm like, how do you kind of package that all up together to do it right? So
that's right. That's so.
I know you can do it though. Believe me, I know Bruce.
Yes. No, I'm talking about how you do the tax planning around that because I don't know. So
it's not that hard. It really comes down to sitting down with your accountant and then just packaging it in a way that makes more sense.
Okay.
So yeah, like I sit down and talk to accountants. Right now I'm talking to clients, accountants and so forth. And we're going down the path of saying, okay, what, they file their taxes. What do we need to do differently next year? So they're not paying all these estimated taxes and everything else.
Yeah.
I get into the weeds of this, Bruce. so
no.
Yeah. But I love what I do. So what I always tell people, if you love what you do, it's not work.
Yeah, you love what you do and do what you love.
Yeah.
Can you again, just as we're in our closing, can you go over again just your address, your phone number and your email?
So my email is Temba, THEMBA .MAGAGULA @LPL.com. My telephone number is 202-744-8853. If somebody leaves a message, I'd probably just say follow up with a text because I get a lot of voicemail messages throughout the day. So just send me a text and I will call back because I do call back immediately, pretty much a lot of times. So yeah. So, and again, that's Temba, THEMBA .MAGAGULA @LPL.com. Telephone number is 202-744-8853.
Yes.
And I can shoot that over to you, Curtis, as well.
Yeah. Put that in. We can put that information in. Curtis, any remarks, man? You have brought most definitely a phenomenal individual on for sure.
Well, actually, yeah. So I was just gonna say that I'm benefiting from it. A lot of people that I know that's close to me have also used his services and benefiting as well. One of the things that I like about what he shares with you is not just the education, but one of the things I said earlier that he does something that'll show you something that the most financial advisors do not. That he will actually go on a particular site and show you the ratings of himself and other individuals, so that it's like that you can see basically if they have any blips against their record or anything, right? I think he's like doing it like right now. And
Yeah,
this is
tell me what that is. Yeah.
this shows you, like, literally, man, that he's not just speaking words and trying to get you to come and join him in his efforts to grow wealth for you, but it shows you that he has a track record from when he started to now that has no blemishes, and that's something hard to find sometimes. And most people won't show you that, but she shows you that, but then teaches you how to get to the place you really want to be. So I encourage everybody to reach out to him, use him, talk to him.
I'll do that real quickly. I'm going on there right now, Curtis. But go ahead.
And the other thing is that he never has a problem with talking to you and answering your questions. I ain't never seen a time where he was like, well, I'm too busy, I can't do that. No, if he can't talk to you at the time, he'll call you back and then talk to you, and he will talk to you. I'm telling you, good man.
Man, and how long y'all been operating with him, Curtis? How long have you?
So I actually came on board with him. I think it was actually last year. And so it's been a year so far, and other people that I know have also come on with him after me and some before me, and that's how I got involved myself.
Wow. And just one last question, Curtis, you have seen benefit just in the year already.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't start off big, because I wanted to see what was going on, but I made it a consistent investment. Every month I have something consistent going into my account. So I started with one piece, and then now I just have something consistent going into my account, which causes it to work for me.
Yep. And we just move that around. So what I'll do is if there's a certain gain, I'll take those gains. I won't sell the position and move that around into something else, so we can kind of boost the portfolio over time. So, but yeah, this is basically FINRA.org is an organization. It's an organization that regulates all financial advisors. Okay. Yeah. So this is my name and everything else, and this is the company I work under. Now I can say I worked at Merrill Lynch and so forth, and people say, "Oh yeah, I don't believe that," and stuff like that or whatever. But I started with Merrill Lynch in 1999. Okay. I worked there until 2008 when we had the financial crisis. And then I went over to Citigroup or Smith Barney. Smith Barney was bought by Morgan Stanley Smith Barney or Morgan Stanley. I worked there. This industry is not made up of a lot of minorities. I'll be very candid with you.
Yeah.
So it's a hard industry to get into, and they make it very difficult for you to succeed when you get into this industry. I was blessed because I've always been a overachiever and a workaholic that, people always say, okay, look, Timber, we need to put him in this position. We need to do this and so forth.
They had to honor the work ethic.
Yeah, because they saw what I was doing. Every day I'd get to work at 6 o'clock in the morning and I wouldn't leave until 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, wow.
So I did that for actually from 1999 until 2009.
Wow.
That was my life. Yeah. So, and then I went back to Merrill Lynch because at Smith Barney, I was actually the only minority in my office doing financial planning as a male. So that was tough. But it's what it is. So then I went into Transamerica, which was more insurance. And that wasn't my cup of tea, because insurance is something where you're not really doing financial planning. Anybody can sell insurance, but people, as I put it, they're not really looking out for your best interest sometimes with insurance. Mm-hmm. Okay, like I have a client now that I got last year that was a referral. He was paying $19,000 in insurance premiums every year. Mm-hmm. Okay, for $1 million policy. I met him. I looked at the policy. I sent it up and I said, "Hold on, can you guys look at this?" We brought it down to he's paying $5,000 a year now, and he's not paying it until age 99. He's going to stop payments at age 65.
Wow.
So, and then Capital One is where I worked last, and then I went over to LPL Financial. Yeah, if you pull up somebody else, okay. So, I'm sorry.
Oh, this is
so
good.
Normally you'll see some red dots here. Okay. If
Mhm.
somebody has blemishes on their system. Okay. This is where I'm licensed to do business. All of these different areas.
Oh, thank God. I was like, you got North Carolina on there?
Yeah. So,
This is great.
so
Yeah,
yeah. So I'm able to do business in all these states. And basically this is a breakdown.
that's awesome. I know that we're coming close to our time as
Okay.
far as on here, but this has been your track record since 1999, and like I'm pretty sure, just based on what Curtis is saying, I totally agree. It's really hard to find people with that. I actually one last question, Timber. Just
Sure.
what should people expect from working with you? I guess in that first year. I mean, Curtis, you can share anything on that, but what should people expect from you in that first year of just working with you?
So the thing is, it's all about trying to grow the assets. So what I guess the expectation is really just trying to say, we're working together as a team.
Mhm.
Okay. This is just not me. It's all of us working together as a team to try to figure out what makes sense based on where a person is. Once I know where that person is, then I'll say, okay, well, look, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. Once we get that plan in place, then the goal is to try to at least get it to grow by 10% a year at a minimum. Okay. We might not always hit that because the market has different cycles that it goes through. Okay. Like nobody predicted COVID last year, but COVID brought a lot of people, made people a lot of money actually, because people are making almost 80% on their investments last year if they did it right. So yeah, so that's where we are in that regard.
That was definitely a lot, and I definitely appreciate it, man, because you really gave us some information, and like I said, if you really need to find out about anything when it comes to investments and really want to put your money somewhere where it will make you money, he is definitely an individual that you can really trust. He's a man of integrity, and one of the other thing I'll say is this, closing out, is that one of the things I also like about him is that he told me basically he feels that God has given him this gift with finances as his purpose to help other people be educated and also turn their life into a place where they
Something
can go
better.
well and go forward further. That's
Yep.
his purpose in the earth through God. So definitely appreciate you, man. It's
Oh,
always
you're
a
welcome.
pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. I've reached out to you already by email, Timber.
Okay.
Most definitely, I'll be, talking further. And those who are on with us tonight, most definitely share this. This has been truly a blessing. Timber, Curtis, let's talk about it. Family, Leviticus, and the networks across the globe. This is our Let's Talk About It, which takes place weekly. Correct, Curtis?
Yeah, all the way till yep, definitely.
Every week, and that's actually a perfect cue because wifey just got home, so you gonna need some help with the groceries. Thank y'all so much. Share this with your networks, y'all. We're over and out. This is Let's Talk About It. Thank you again, Curtis and Timber. We will see y'all soon.
All right
Thanks a
now.
lot.
God
All
bless
right.
you guys, man.
You as well. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Bye. All right, Tim.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Thank you all so much for joining us today for our Let's Talk About It session, Making Your Money Work for You. Special thank you to our guest speaker, Timba Magagula. As you see here, we have our giving side up. Leviticus is a great place to sow seeds. We have multiple ways that you can give digitally, Cash App, through PayPal. You can give online at our website, www.leviticusrva.com/giving. On the app Givelify or Cash App, you can also text to give or mail your giving in at 1700 East Perham Road in Richmond, Virginia. Thank you all so much. God bless you all. God keep you. We'll see you right here next week for empowerment classes. We finish out the month of Money Making March. We have 2 more weeks of great topics coming up. And then we'll see you back here again Sunday afternoon at 12:30 for our worship experience. Have a blessed night.